Now, we mentioned this yesterday, didn't we? The passing of Craig Brown, who was the longest-serving manager in Scottish history, qualified for the Euros in '96 and the World Cup, of course, in '98. Craig, you were a big part of that success within that squad with Craig Brown as the leader. What springs to mind when you think of Brown?
Well, I was taken aback about yesterday. I told you that when I got a message from Ewan Murray, Scottish journalist, at 7:30 in the morning to say Craig had died. I didn't know he was ill. It wasn't official then, but he was just giving me a heads up. We did a documentary a couple of years ago on behalf of the BBC. It was called Mr. Brown's Boys. It was a look back at Craig Brown's Scotland squad that got to the World Cup in '98 because Scotland had just qualified under Steve Clarke for the Euros and it had been the first time. And I remember him looking frail, thinking, boy, he looks frail, but he's, I think he was around 80 at the time. I thought, well, it's just old age. But I was surprised. And it was quite sad, really. But I'm really pleased to see all the tributes that have been coming out and all the nice things. And I look back and you don't remember it at the time, but it was a lot of fun.
Right.
And I know there's these idiosyncrasies and some of the things that Craig used to say, but he'd a marvellous sense of humour. Pull your socks up. The crowd will be, make sure you're running off at half-time. Look as if you're keen. All these things, you go, what are you talking about? But it kind of made you laugh as a player. I mean, the things he used to say about the opposition. I mean, he called Didier Deschamps a poor man's Stuart McCall. Right? I can't remember what he said about Zinedine Zidane. He said something about one of the Croatian centre-halves in a World Cup qualifier, and that particular player was playing for Juventus. And the boys used to say, if he's saying that about Zidane and Deschamps, what the hell is he saying about us behind the scenes, you know what I mean? But it was quite funny. He was, his humour was good, his one-liners were great, he was very good with the press.
And of course, he led the Brazil, the opening World Cup game, wasn't he? Did he say something like, look at them?
Yeah, well, actually, he gave a team talk the day before we played Brazil, and we knew what our team was going to be, so I wrote it in the word, Jim Leighton, Henry, Burley, Collins, Jury, blah, 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 Paul Lambert. So then he writes the Brazil team up, right, what he thinks is going to be, and it wasn't particularly difficult to guess. Obviously, that lad Ronaldo, Carlos, Cafu, Dunga was playing, Rivaldo was playing, right, Julio Cesar, Taffarel in goal. And then he gets to, and I can't remember where he was playing, Bebeto.
Right.
Now, Bebeto, I think he might have been playing at Betis or somewhere like that. Bebeto was a tremendous player. And bearing in mind, he considers the fact that Bebeto's going to play for Brazil in the opening game. And he turns around to all the boys and he went, let me tell you about Bebeto. Bebeto, 6 months ago, was offered to Jim Jeffries at Hearts. And Jim Jeffries said, I don't want him. And all the boys we're all sat and going, what, Jim Jeffries turned down Bebeto? Get out. So he would just tell these stories. And you look back at it and it was fun. He just had so many one-liners. I mean, he used to say to me, when I was young, I was easy meat.
Right, yeah.
When you're a young player, you're easy meat. And I remember him saying, right, you're right wing-back, Burley. And he used to say, and in front of all the lads, McCoist and all that, all the guys with 50 caps, I had like 5 caps, he said, right, Burley, wing-back. And don't have me phoning a taxi for you to get back, right? And I'd be like, and then the game would start, and he'd say to me, listen, wing-backs are difficult. It's really difficult. We don't expect you to be the right winger, the right back, the right winger, the right... And I'd be, all right, that's good. Then the game would start.
We expect you...
And I'm on the right side, right? And all I can hear from Alec Miller and Craig Brown is, get up, get back, get in, get out, get up, get back, get out, all game. And I used to look at them and go, sod off. So it was fun. And sad time, really. But he was 82. As I say, he was ill. I worked with him. It's not just Scotland. I worked with him for a month at Preston.
Yeah, when he brought you in, yeah.
He brought me in at Preston. It was really, honestly, it was so funny because Dundee went into administration at the end of my career. Ravanelli and myself, we had our contracts ripped up. So I went back to Nottingham, to my house, and my daughter was only 6 months old. So I said to my wife, it was around October time, I'm going to say October. So I said to the wife, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to have a good Christmas. And I did. I had a really good November, December. Yep. My really good...
Yes.
So Brownie phones me in January He's at Preston. He phones me up, he says, I need a bit of help. They were in the Championship. He said, I need a bit of help. I need some experience. He said, will you come in for a month? I said, Brownie, I've not done anything for 4 months. He said, what have you been doing? I said, drinking and eating. And he went, you'll be all right. So I went up for a month, and I was travelling up and down, and I used to basically take the mickey out of him. But it was weird because all the Preston players looked at him as a god.
Right.
They did. They were Championship players, most of them, and they looked at him, man in Scotland, to World Cups, to European Championships. This guy's a god. Then I come in, shouting at him and calling him names, and the boys used to say to me at lunch after training, how can you talk to him like that? And I said, it's Bruni. It's Bruni. I worked with him, 45 out of my 46 caps, and that's kind of the relationship we had. And he had that with all the guys, Gary McAllister, Colin Hendry, John Collins, Paul Lambert, Kevin Gallagher, Ali McCoy, the list goes on. Everybody had a great relationship with him, and everybody said some really nice things, and I don't think any of it is disingenuous. And yeah, he had some of the lags, SFA, school teacher traits when he talked about singing the national anthem because the supporters will get upset and they're writing me letters. Right. You're not singing the national anthem, and they're writing me letters saying there's no passion in the Scotland team, and we're like, shut up. They're not writing you letters. So he had those traits, but I found them funny, and it kept you amused when you went to squads because you'd go to a team meeting thinking it would be about the game.
Right.
And it would eventually, but he'd come in the meeting and go, I've been watching yous at lunch, dinner and breakfast, and every one of yous are having 4 courses. We've got a game in 3 days. I'm sending you back to your club 10 pounds overweight. He'd be worried about stupid stuff like that. And then you'd go to dinner at night and the boys would be like, right, fill your plates up, lads, back up, and he'd be just looking.
Right.
So it was fun. It was fun. And yeah, I mean, he can hold his head high. In terms of Scotland were getting to major tournaments then. Stevie Clark's doing that now, but it was a really good time to be playing for the national team. It was an era after Stevie, and he dealt with Andy Roxburgh more. I dealt with Craig Brown in that era, but it was a fun time, and it's nice to see all the contributions that people are putting out about what he meant and what he achieved. And yeah, but it wasn't very good news when it arrived yesterday. So condolences to all his family. But it was a privilege to play for Scotland and play for him. It was good times.
It seems to be sentiments that echoed right across the board for those that met Craig Brown during his career. Craig Brown, who passed away on Monday at the age of 82. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.